Hey, what's up guys? It is your girl, Coach Leanne, down here at AM Fitness in Plainville. Today I am bringing you a video talking about a little bit more shoulder mobility. So as you know, shoulder mobility is one of my big obsessions. If you've watched any of my videos, if you've followed along with any of my training and my mobility process, you know that this is a huge thing for me. And one thing that I talk about very frequently, especially when it comes to shoulder mobility, I often refer back to our S mobility. So we do that a lot in our warm-ups. I take you through it in a lot of our mobility during recovery week. So I want to use it today as kind of a pre-post test, more so than actual as a mobility exercise. It can be used as such, but for right now what I want to do is just to use it, as I say, to figure out where you stand with your shoulder mobility, do some stuff to work on your shoulder mobility, and then use it as kind of a post-test, either directly after or down the road, to kind of figure out if you've gotten better. Now, in terms of your S mobility, there are a couple different ways to do it. In our warm-ups, we always do it from the ground, so you can do it from the ground if you prefer. So that's when we bring one hand up, we bring one hand back, we're in a T, and we're switching back and forth. If you have someone to take a picture of you, because you obviously can't see yourself, that's super ideal. You can do it from a kneeling position. So if you're here, you can do the same thing, alternating back and forth. And you can also do it from a standing position, really. So it effectively accomplishes the same thing. So it kind of becomes what's easier for you to accomplish, and you know how much time you have to do it. So for the most part, the mobility is going to be about the same. And as I say, if you have someone to take a picture of you or a video of you so that you can see exactly where you're at before and after, rather than guessing like, well, it feels like my hand is here. If you make some significant gains, you'll probably feel the difference very immediately. So for today, the exercise I'm going to bring you is actually a foam rolling exercise, SMR as it's called. What I have here is just a lacrosse ball. So I like this because it's very small, so we can pinpoint small areas, and it's very thick and it's very dense. So even though the tennis ball is about the same size, it's not going to give you the same level of mobility. It's not going to work into the knots the same way that this will. So I'm going to use this really just to start on my right shoulder. So when we look at the S mobility, the arm that's going up is dealing with external rotation of the shoulder, and the arm that's coming behind you and reaching up towards your neck, that one's dealing with internal rotation. So let's look at my pre-test on the internal rotation on my right arm. That is legitimately the range of motion that I have. So the exercise that I'm going to take you through is hopefully going to get me a little bit better at that. So I'm going to use this lacrosse ball. I'm going to come onto my back. I'm going to sneak it underneath my shoulder, and then I'm going to pull my arm way out of the way. So effectively what I've done in this position, when our shoulder blade sits kind of on our rib cage, if we pull the arm out of the way, we pull the shoulder blade back. So what that's done, because the shoulder blade travels along the rib cage, there's stuff underneath it. If I were to do this against, say, a wall, I would only have really the range of motion that I'm available to get. But if I'm traveling just up and down the shoulder blade right where it is, I'm not getting everything that's underneath it. So for me, what I have is a lot of knots that are underneath the shoulder blade sitting on the rib cage, and what they're actually doing is affecting the movement pattern that my shoulder blade itself has. So to get myself down here, again, to pull the arm out of the way, now I have access underneath the shoulder blade that I didn't have before. So I'm going to work on just slowly rolling back and forth, nothing fast about this, and I'm going to work on little areas. So I'm going to start kind of like the top third, really, of my shoulder, which is where I would assume that the majority of my tension lies, because most of us spend our lives with our shoulders up and our neck. I'm going to spend a little bit of time there. I'm going to move down more toward the center, and I can feel as I'm going up and down that I'm just kind of popping as I go, as I roll over all those knots. Now, if I was you, I'd probably spend a little bit more time on this rather than just a couple seconds, but the entire length of my shoulder, I feel popping, and I don't know if you can see it when it pops on the video, but it's pretty significant to me. So even just that little bit that I did right there, let's see what my post test looks like. Oh, the range of motion that I now have. So specifically today, we were really just talking about the internal rotation of the shoulder, but again, this is huge for us, because most of us, this is where we lack the range of motion that we need, and this that range of motion I've been fighting for a very, very long time. And so to add this into my mobility programming it's huge. It's life-changing. So go ahead and try this one out. If you have any questions, feel free and let any one of your coaches know. We'll help you out.